Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. D. Eric Body Beats. It's a vibe.
All right. It's the CARESNONE Be Dope podcast. I am your host, Chris CARESNONE, and I got a special guest in this motherfucker, Steve Karl, everybody. What's going on, man? What's going on? Well, this is number 3?
3. Yeah, the second one we were good and toasted.
Turn.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't drank since that.
Yeah, it's been a hot minute. I do every now and again, but not too much.
Let me ask you this about the drinking for you. Because I've never, as a matter of fact, of all the times we've ever kicked it, went to vacations, you've always been like the least alcoholic of all of us. You've always been like, that don't mean you ain't had your moments.
Oh, yeah.
But you were always the one that was not like your first thought, listen, let's get fucked up. As a matter of fact, you've always been like, hey, I want to chill out because you want to be ready for the next day or something like that.
I want to feel good. Yeah, I hate feeling like shit.
I know.
So it's kind of a strange thing that we do where we go on vacation, we take off of work, we finally get a chance to relax, and then we just beat the hell out of our bodies and just drink till we're sick or don't sleep at all. It's crazy. So I don't know. When I'm on vacation, sometimes I want to have at least a couple days where, you're just totally chilling, feeling good.
What's weird to me about vacations, because the reason why I would continue to get fucked up and stay up is because I was trying to get the most out of it, I would think at the time. Mm-hmm. But my mindset now is just because you're up and physically doing something doesn't mean you're squeezing the most out of that juice.
Not at all. Yeah, like that time we went to Nashville and we were kind of, what did we do? We just randomly Google searched something to do, kind of led us to some crazy places, and that's just something that you don't necessarily do if you're fucked up. We could have just gone down to, the Strip and just gone to the bar and kicked it all day, but we decided we're gonna do something a little different.
And that ended up being one of our better vacations.
For sure. When I think of Nashville, of course I think of the partying and all that and the ratios, but
I love that Nashville ratio.
But no, mostly it's that it's those times that we went and checked out the
plantation,
the plantation, the wine tasting, the plantation,
the slave ship. No,
and then there was that weird what was that a hut or what do they call that?
Like the Roman Empire thing?
Yeah, okay, that's what it was.
It was like a fake Coliseum.
That's what it was. It was the Coliseum. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like a life-size replica of what the Greek one was.
Yeah.
That was actually kind of dope.
It was interesting.
It was definitely interesting. But like you said, we normally would have just been fucked up and then went down to the... And listen, there's still times for that.
There is times for that.
And here's the thing, too. Another thing I'm noticing, too, because people starting to know that I don't drink. They're always like, oh, can I drink around him? That ain't... Do you feel that way around me?
No, not at all.
But I know some people, when you say you don't drink, they're like, oh, are you a raging alcoholic? And I don't feel like that was ever really my issue.
Yeah, I saw that in a movie where it's like everyone who doesn't drink has a story, behind why they don't drink.
Which is, no, and I do have a story, for sure. But I even still, and and this is actually a good segue. The way I think is I like to be tempted.
Sure. Because
the more, we talk about this all the time, the more it's in your if you're a cokehead and you got the cocaine right here, and you don't do it, you win it.
Well, now you beat it, or you're at least beating it, versus the people who try to do everything they can to keep it away from them. At the end of the day, if you want something bad enough, you're gonna find a way. So you got to be able to have it there. Like when I quit smoking, whatever, I told you I used to, several failed attempts, but I'd break them up, throw them in the garbage can, whatever. At the end of the day, the last one that won was just stick it right there on the counter, and it's like, hey, it's there if you want it. Just don't want it no more.
That's the real killer. And you know what do you think that is? Because a lot of people, they'll give me, and I know you're the same way, they give me credit for being, and I kind of give myself credit for being a cold turkey motherfucker. Mm-hmm. Let's cut it off now. I'm one of those kind of people. And a lot of people like to ease, and I think you can get it done trying to ease, but I'm like, let's go now. For instance, I'm not going to call nobody's name out specifically, but like if you're drinking and you're like, you know what, man, and you're literally having an argument, not argument, but a discussion about how you want to stop drinking, and you're drunk and you're drinking, and then you start pouring out beers, which is a good start, but then you keep that last beer, you're like, you know, this is my last one. Something to me,
Yeah, you're not ready.
deep. And I'm not saying you could probably still win in those situations,
Sure.
but you know,
Yeah, no. When you really hit that point, it's fuck it. I don't want it now. Going forward, period. That's it. It's over.
now do you think it's like rock bottoms get you there?
I think everybody's different. You know, that's why I try to not be too judgmental about the way that people go through their process, because, you know,
That's a big one
It's
for me,
tough.
Steve, man. That's a big one, and I'm getting better at it. But understanding that, so for instance, as a person who likes the cold turkey and then goes all in, first of all, if I'm being honest, hey, my bad for interrupting the podcast, but I gotta throw a little bit of love to CARESNONE.com. You can go in there and get links to the social medias. You got your Instagrams, you got your TikToks, you got your YouTubes, you got all kind of stuff on there. You got links to the wing review. You got links to the audio and video version of the podcast. All kind of stuff on there. And most importantly to me, which is very important to me, is you get your merchandise on there. You can get you a B-Dope shirt just like this. Join the movement. There's a lot of people joining this movement right now. You should be a part of it. And I would really appreciate if you'd be a part of it. This serves as a daily reminder to be the best version of yourself and not give a damn about what these other people think about what it is that you want to do to be the best version of yourself. And for the people watching this right now, use promo code PODCAST and you'll get 20% off your order right now. Right now. For all the people who are watching the podcast, you get 20% off right now. Promo code PODCAST. Thank you. See you next time. Now back to the podcast. As hard as I try to go for certain things, I know in my heart I can go 100% fucking harder.
sure.
And I bet you a lot of people know that. Even people who are killing it probably think they could go harder. There's those moments where they're like, yeah, I bullshitted that, and I probably could have won. Now, there's obviously some balance. You know, I think you want to have some balance in life.
Yeah.
So, but I feel like with me, I give myself credit for doing that, but I need to be a little more, show more compassion and empathy for the people, because my journey is literally 10 years.
Right.
Of self-development, trying to figure this shit out, trying to think outside the box, trying to better myself. And it is a lot of work. And mental work, which is the hardest work. Like physical work, all day I'll take that over, like not take it over, but over mental work, man. The brain.
Yeah. See, you struggle because you've been putting in that work, and then you feel like you got the keys. You know, you done the legwork for the people. So let me put you on. And unfortunately, like, you know, some people just kind of want to go through it themselves, I guess, and you know.
Right, and I had to have more compassion about that, and understanding that the reason why I'm able to fix my mind, and now I believe in like compounding interest on it, right? So the more that I'm learning and I'm repeating what I'm learning, and I'm just, now it's getting easier to take on more things because now I understand this new direction I'm going. Mm-hmm. So it's easier. So for instance, getting comfortable being uncomfortable, which is something you and I always talk about. Well, it's easy for me to do a lot of these easier for me to do a lot of these cold turkey things like drinking, because I have slowly, over years, we're slowly doing little things to be uncomfortable.
Sure.
You ever heard that quote that says, do something uncomfortable every day?
Yep.
Like, that's some gangster advice. Even just one thing. They just want, sometimes, I'm so ridiculous. There'll be like a motherfucker, like say a next door neighbor, and I'm like, oh, you know. But then, and my first thought is like, go walk the other way. Now I'll be like, go walk that way. Walk right past them and just deal with whatever the fuck it is. And I know it's something small, but little shit like that, I think helps get to the stop drinking.
Yeah, I think so.
You know, because I'm like, man, which is a great segue, Steve. And this is one I want to get you on because I just love talking to you. You know that. But two, as you know, I'm strongly trying to get my entrepreneurial mind right. Mm-hmm. And what I'm starting to learn, there's so much I'm learning, and I'm reading all these books and podcasts, and I'm taking on a lot of information, and all this shit seems so foreign to me. And I feel like a lot of things that I'm learning that you've always naturally had as a child or a young man. So I want to bring you on because I want to kind of pick your brain about what do you think. So what is your definition of an entrepreneur?
Definition of an entrepreneur.
And would you consider yourself one?
Yeah, for sure. I guess someone, like the short answer would be someone that like works for themselves basically, and constantly sparking up ideas. But it can be side hustles. It can be a lot of things. So you could still have a 9-to-5, be an entrepreneur in my eyes if you're trying to build something.
Especially in the beginning, you might have to do that
for sure. But it's like it's that feeling that you're never comfortable at a job working for somebody else. Like that's like one of the common traits.
You've always. When did you know you felt that way?
I mean,
how many jobs have you had?
I've had a few jobs. I was always miserable doing them, and I always knew that wouldn't be like the long-term solution. But like growing up, you like it's the easy thing to do. Like just wake up, punch a clock, do what you're told, make some money. It's easy. It's nothing to it, versus like you're seeing right now when all the shit's in your hands, all the decisions, everything goes wrong is on you. It's a whole nother game, but it's fun. Like that gives you a lot of purpose. And so I don't know. I was always hustling growing up, and just kind of never knew kind of what I wanted to do, but knew something would eventually.
So what was your relationship with money? So, like as like a teenager.
Not healthy, yeah. I wanted it.
Did you respect it as far as like? Before you answer the question, the reason I'm asking this question is because I feel like you might have had. You looked at money. It comes and goes more, right? Which I believe is healthy. That to a degree, whereas as opposed to this scarcity mindset where I got to hold on to it.
Sure.
I keep some of the shit I'm studying. A lot of motherfuckers say like. It's always about value, right? And then if you're offering value to the world, like the currency, they literally call it a currency, and money just flows. So it's like you have to be okay. And I know, especially in the black community, and probably not even just black, just people in general, because most motherfuckers ain't got money like that. It seems as though like we put too much emphasis on the money.
Definitely.
Right?
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
So what was your? You said it was unhealthy.
I think it's unhealthy, meaning that the reasons I wanted it were unhealthy. For
what were those?
Just to blow it and to just get my hands on all the toys that I thought were cool and that I thought would make me happy and all that kind of stuff. And
when did you learn that was wrong? When
I got some real money. Once you get money, then you realize that all that shit means nothing.
And that's what they all say.
It's a fact. Like. You come into some money and you start to see when you could buy whatever you want, none of that shit's gonna do anything for you. I've had the nicest cars. I've now finally accepted the fact I went to the pinnacle of a lot of things. I mean, obviously there's people way crazier than myself, but I went pretty fucking high, and I couldn't be less thrilled with the material side of it. The freedom. Now that's what it is. So I wasn't so worried about the freedom growing up, but it was give it to me and let's get crazy. And then I'd try to regenerate it because it wasn't something that I was trying to get to stockpile, so I could be comfortable or free. It was something like that. It was just like, get it, spend it, get it, spend. Now we got to keep getting it and get it, which
you still kind of do.
Yeah. It creates kind of a fire in you that is nice to have, because again, I'm kind of curious, some of these people that are sitting on billions, trillions, I don't know where they get their motivation from. I'm not there. I have no idea, so I can't put myself in that place, but I would just think that there would be a point where if you're not too worried about keeping up with the Joneses, because that's a big problem we have in the world, I feel very comfortable in my not giving a shit about that anymore. And then if you're not worried about the material things, like other than like philanthropy, like there's really,
which is probably the biggest one.
Yeah, but is that what they're doing it for? I don't know, but like I don't know how they don't just kind of get bored and you know, and content.
You know who? I'm sure you've heard of Ty Lopez.
Yeah,
A lot of people say he's a scam artist, right?
yeah, feels like it.
And it's funny because a couple of cats who I trust, the entrepreneurial podcasts I listen to, everyone knows that Ty Lopez is considered like this scam kind of guy, right? But all these guys are like, I don't know what it is, but that motherfucker's got game. And these are people that no one calls them scammers.
Sure.
They're just helping motherfuckers grow, and they're like, no, that dude's legit. He said, so whether you fuck with him or not, he made this quote, and he goes, first of all, that keeping up with the Joneses shit, he goes, it's not nearly what people think it is. He also said he wishes everyone could get to that level so they could realize that it ain't shit.
I mean, but I feel like his videos still fucking portray that.
Because I think that he might be taking advantage of of the human psychology. But when I heard him in this 2-hour podcast, it seems as though he knows what he's doing to get this money, but he thinks differently.
I'm telling you, his videos where he's
like in his garage with the cars.
Yeah, like where that's that subtle bullshit where
so
you
I
know
think
what you're doing.
Right, and I think, so that's a good question. Is it wrong? And I deal with this a little bit too. Is it wrong to profit off of something that you believe is like taking advantage of people's psychology?
I mean, yes, I think so. I mean, I guess if you could sleep at night, cool. But that to me, that's kind of scummy to be sitting here preaching that. You know, you hope that everyone can one day get to that pinnacle so that they realize that it doesn't mean anything, yet you're just feeding into that garbage. I would, you know.
And I haven't seen one of his videos in a while.
Yeah, I haven't either, but
But a lot of these, I'm telling you, a lot of these cats fuck with him like on some, let me get in the room with him because he'll put you on game type shit. Yeah. And it could be scandalous or whatever, but I'm just saying that's crazy.
Like I think I saw him in a video with that Grant Cardone guy or whatever. He's cool to me.
I like him.
He kind of.
He's a boss.
Tells you how it is, and you know, I don't know. I like his style a little bit more than Lopez,
Ty Lopez. I mean, but as far as making money, but what was the point we were talking about?
Relationship with money.
Relationship with money, and so here's what I'm learning: it's scarcity mindset again. Mm-hmm. And I do this with a lot of shit. And I'm wondering where, maybe because of not having money growing up. Oh, no, backtrack. I feel like I can learn what you've learned about having this amount of money and feeling these situations and realizing it's dumb and to not reach for that for those reasons. Even though I've never personally had that kind of money, but because of living vicariously through you and being in some of the situations that you've done, and I was next to you and seeing it, and then trusting you because I've always trusted your judgment. You're saying, "Nigga, I'm telling you," and then I'm listening to all these
a million people, yeah,
and it's everybody. I remember who was it? Arian Foster was on the Joe Rogan podcast, and you remember that?
Oh yeah,
and he was like, "I'm telling you, niggas, like it ain't what you think it is," and I feel like a lot of them say that, like almost all of them.
It's not what you think it is.
And there's a lot of niggas who say like, no, it's about the money, but then and they have a fucking $1 billion, but then they'll kill themselves. Mm-hmm. So what I'm learning, that's not the game. Now here's what I'm learning too. Here's what I'm learning is time is the real currency,
for sure.
Like more than anything, like that's the most important thing on the most important resource, and. The gift and the curse to be an entrepreneur is you have like your own thing. You got your time. You got your 24 hours. And you can do whatever the fuck you want. You want to go to the gym? Go to the gym. You want to go talk to a bitch? You know, you want to go work on...
It's
the flip side. What?
That movie In Time. That one fucks with me every time. Movie. It's that concept makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Just think about that. If your life, instead of your money, was your time... Like, how would you spend it? There's no fucking way you'd be buying that bottle at the club.
It still kind of is that way because the motherfuckers are working per hour. So to a degree, it's still like that.
You're putting in that work to get money to do what? Yeah, versus like, but it's a real complicated problem because you're like, on one hand, there's the money for the freedom. Then what do you do with the free? Like, I don't know. This game is confusing. I don't know. I don't know what the damn answer is. Because you could be like, oh, you know, just spend as much time with your family and friends. screw working and work the bare minimum just to get by.
That don't feel good either, though.
That right, because then you just kind of feel like a sloppy piece of shit.
Yeah.
So there's
like a balance,
some kind of balance,
and it might be different for different people.
I do think that what you hear is like doing things for others. That seems like the ultimate answer. That seems like if the only possible answer that I will list, or the only possible reason to get filthy, in my opinion, is if you're gonna do that shit with it. I could understand that. Like the reason why Bezos is still grabbing as much as he can, if he wants to be out here, changing the world for the better, I respect that.
And to a degree, there's arguments, I guess working for him, I've heard is shitty, working for Amazon company.
I've heard the opposite of that. So.
But so you've heard the opposite. Like Mike Mack worked for them and said it was the worst shit ever.
Okay. I mean, what did he do?
I think he was like a manager in like the warehouse or something.
Okay.
So like I think they have like, and I saw some jokes on TikTok. Again.
Yeah, basically where he's like watching over them or like.
Yeah, or like they don't really get breaks and they work like crazy hours. Whatever. I don't know. I'm not there. But technically I could argue that he's making the world better because I can now buy something and get it in 2 days. And in some situations get it in a few hours. That's bringing value to the world.
Sure.
What I'm learning now about business and skills is offer value, and you good.
100%.
And me and Derry had a podcast yesterday, and he's on some real good shit too. He's like, here's what you do. You find your pain points in whatever. And you can think about anything you look at. Oh, smoothie. Well, the pain point was motherfuckers didn't want water no more. Mm-hmm. So it's like, what can we do to improve water? Then and then over time you figured out a way to do this. Shoes. Damn, niggas walk around barefoot. My feet are fucking cracked. Yeah. So then find a pain point. So then you can do that with your own personal life. So what you do, and then that's how you find a business. So for your situation, niggas need to dig this hole. The construction site. You know what? I can figure out a way to do this and probably do it better. So I'm learning that you got to have the skill, or find a way to offer value.
Sure.
And then if you genuinely do it. Here's what again, am I there yet? No, but I'm starting to feel it. If you have genuine desire to offer value to people, to be a servant to humans, that other shit will work. Now, don't get me wrong. It ain't just hocus pocus magic shit. It seems like it ain't, you got to put some work in. You got to get your team around. That's nothing I wanted to ask you about, Steve. The richest niggas ain't always the smartest niggas, I'm learning. Mm-mm. And a lot of times, and I just watched the podcast before you got here. What they do is, tell me if you agree with this. The one nigga has like the vision, right? Like, damn, we could do this. But he's like, I suck at this. I suck at this. I suck at this. I'm great at this. So I need to find a team that's great at the things that, one, I don't want to do, two, that I'm not good at. And then that's how, and then you keep building these systems to get to your ultimate vision, right?
No doubt about it. It's that the most people struggle by having too much ego and wanting to basically have their fingerprint on everything. You see it all over the place.
You see it in CARESNONE brand, bro.
You see it everywhere you look. You can find the owner of the restaurant that, like, you've told me examples where they're running around, trying to bust table, just freaking out, doing all this stuff, when really what he should be doing probably is looking for the next spot, piece of land to acquire, so he can put this place in there and let the people who know how to run the building, because and who understand the psychology of people and how to treat them. Like, that's who needs to be in that position, not you, the guy who understands, location and what. Right,
which he clearly knows, and,
sure.
And there's obviously he knows some shit. But it's like that some shit you're not good at, bro. And you're actually hurting your business to some degree.
I've heard of businesses where the owner, like where it basically was a retail business that the owner couldn't take being in the store because he couldn't accept anything less than perfection. So it was just like going in there, just waxing people, firing, like, because we talked about this a million times, but you cannot expect your employees to
have the same
feeling about your
passion,
business. They don't, it's not their business. It's their job. And great. In a perfect world, they're going to treat it that way, but good luck. You know, there's just
Now, what do you think? So, is there a way to get niggas close?
I mean, you
You treat them right. It would be help.
probably
You would think,
befriend them. You'd have to care about someone on a different level,
or give them some skin.
maybe, but I don't even know if that'll work.
No?
Because I mean, unless the money is directly tied to the success, therefore, but then they might have their own vision, and you could clash heads. I've had a situation where I tried to incentivize an employee on kind of a bonus structure. You know, like company wins, you win. You're not formally an owner, but essentially you're getting a piece of profit, and it ended up turning into like a brawl when we're in year 1 or 2 of the business, and we're trying to get things figured out. It takes time to turn a profitable business, and of course this person wanted to make choices that weren't necessarily good for the long term of the business, more for the right now. So for an example, like let's say you want to get your foot in the door with a new client, so you kind of have to offer a lower than what you would want profit margin. And how does that work for his bonus? He's not worried. He's worried about the right now, because he doesn't know where he's going to be in 5 years. So
And he's not thinking about the vision.
No, because at the end of the day, this is a sick world and no one trusts anyone, basically. So he's probably thinking, you're going to build this thing up on but with me, and then you're just going to ice me, which isn't true, but that's just
how people think.
How people think in this world. Yeah, so it's sad, but
so here's what I'm learning. It's so there's things that I'm religiously, I don't know the word, but like in my whole life, I've never been great at. Now, what I'm having the issue with CARESNONE when it comes to scaling is, one, there's no way, it's impossible for me to be anything like a Nike by myself. Mm-hmm. It's literally impossible.
It's impossible for Nike to be Nike by themselves.
Right. They probably get 500 people, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And years behind it. But there's some things, having trust in other motherfuckers to do it, one, that they know better. So what I'm learning is, it's like, wait a minute. So like, I'm not a big fan of editing. Mm-hmm. I don't think, but some people love editing.
Sure.
I feel like, and then like if you want to keep your shit up to date, and you know how shit's always new, there's new shit, that takes time to learn how to be a great editor, right?
Sure.
Especially, and then it just takes a long time to do it. Whereas those hours that I'm spending doing that, personally, I would want to do something else for the business, and two, it would be better served because I'm better at this.
Right. So
like I'm now, until I find a team, until I figured the team part and get other motherfuckers, I'm going to stay at this level until I find, like, for instance, and then here's the thing about when I'm learning about businesses and brand, it's like it's way more. I'm okay with it because I love it. Thank God I've been doing all these uncomfortable things because, like, okay, I'm ready. I'm ready because at the end of the day, if I have to live in my goddamn car, I'm willing to do that because I believe. And then when you hear all the stories of niggas who made it, sometimes it gets ugly like that.
Sure.
It gets ugly.
Oh, yeah.
And that almost adds to the value. A lot of times I've heard, tell me if you've heard this, they say, when you've made it, you always look back on those days when you were in the fucking garage.
Oh, I believe that right when it gets really ugly, that's like when you're about to break through. That's what I believe is like. And again, like on a small scale, I felt that way with my business. It was as brutal as it could get for a second, and
you
like
fought through
everything
it.
inside of you wants to give up.
Yeah, come on, say yeah.
I know. I was dark for a while.
Because niggas need to hear that from a successful entrepreneur like yourself, you had thoughts of, I don't know,
a million. And again, I want to preface this by saying that I'm not sitting here stunting saying that I'm where I want to be with the business. We're still growing, but
but you're making strides.
Yeah, learning and improving constantly, but I'm no longer kept up at night, worrying about it like it was. And I'm now in a place where I enjoy what I'm doing, versus if you would have asked me that a year ago, I would have said I hated what I was doing.
I remember we've had
I'm
long
miserable.
talks. And you were like, "Man, fuck this shit."
but yeah, like it's just that's that part of you that's like that little pussy part of you inside that just wants to quit. You know, that wants that cozy, warm shower and that nice blanket. And you just want to be comfortable. That's that little devil talking on your shoulder, and you just got to be like, you know, hey,
Steve, I still have these thoughts sometimes, and especially when I smoke, which is kind of why I like smoking, because it makes me deal with this thought. You know, I'm like that. Like, I want to feel this. The thought I'll have is sometimes randomly, I'll just be like to myself, "What are you doing, nigga? You trying to be a clothing brand? Like, you know? Who do you think you are?" I really have these thoughts sometimes.
Sure.
Which is crazy when you think about it logically, because literally the thing's going on like 15 grand worth of sales. Mm-hmm. That's stupid to think that, because clearly there's a foundation of something that could work, clearly.
100%.
And from strangers, I heard this chick that I follow, she goes, it's one thing that if you have a business and you start selling something and then like you get your friends and family to support.
Right.
Because they're going to support regardless.
Sure.
She goes, sell 20 items for some strangers. Then you know.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
So I was like, okay, and I'm like, damn, I beat that by a lot. So it's like, okay, so now
I mean, just think about that. If you're a guy like on the street selling a mixtape and you sold 20 of them and it was all to your friends and family, like, you got something to worry about.
Right,
you know?
right.
You got, you need to start getting stuff from, the outside world, and you definitely have done that. So
Yeah, but those thoughts creep. It's so fucking crazy. And here's the thing. And at first I'm like, why am I having these thoughts? Like, am I not? Am I self-doubt? Especially as a person who's always preaching to not self-doubt. It's like,
you're a human being. This is
right. And then listening to all these other motherfuckers who are where I'm trying to get, and even further, they say, nigga, that comes with it.
See, that's the important part, is that you're listening to people who have done this and they talk, versus some of these people in the, you see on social media and all this, these perfect worlds and all this, it's all painted like, like everything should be great. Like there should be no, obstacles to overcome, and everything should just come easy. And
that's just not true. We me and Derek talking about this. Everything is this.
Everything.
So like I've been helping you out on the construction site. And as much as you know that we got to do this, there's always something.
Always.
Like that's one of the things I've learned, like watching you in your shit, is shit that just unexpected shit that no one knows what could have happened. It's just, we got to deal with this. And you have no choice, but you have to deal with it.
Got to figure it out.
You got to figure it out. And what I like about what I'm learning about business people and what I've learned about you, you spend very little time contemplating. You say, okay, you give it a thought, boom, boom. Okay, you throw a couple of niggas' ideas, okay, we're gonna do this, and then you just ride with whatever the situation is. So and hopefully it works. But if it doesn't, then we'll figure it out when the time gets. I've even heard you say, well, then we'll deal with it when it gets there.
Yeah, you just do it again, because you can't have that analysis paralysis or whatever they call you, where people want to think through every scenario. You ain't gonna get nothing done. See,
I feel like from the people I've been studying and then listening to you, what smart business leaders do is they make the decision and they own whatever the fuck it is. And it's on me.
What's wrong,
and you
wrong.
Take that responsibility.
Yeah.
And I just think that's like, damn. Because I know one thing that I would have thought, and again, this is me unlearning shit, is you want to, and I guess the analysis paralysis, but you also want to make, I would always think you want to make sure to do, I want to make sure, are we sure this is the right way to do it? So we don't have to do it again. But what I'm learning is a lot of times that turns into you don't do it.
Yeah, there's an extreme on the other side where you don't think anything through at all. I've known a lot of those where you just jump right into something. I think it definitely has to be somewhere in the middle of those two extremes, but yeah.
Is that a quality you say you have? Like, I know when you're doing DraftKings and we're doing drafts, one thing I've always noticed about you, especially the one in Nashville, draft. Mm-hmm. And it was a snake draft and there was a time limit and you were on clock and niggas was watching. It's a big deal. There's a lot of money on the line. and I'm watching everyone else's face. I'm watching your face, and when that time's clicking, you almost have this like calm in your brain. Like it's almost like your brain slows down, a little bit slower than even if like a multi-second slower than everyone else's. And then you're not. I'll never see you doing. You never do that ever. You never make those decisions ever. You always like. Sometimes it's like you might even know what decision you're going to make, but you'll still just. Let me see. All right, okay. But then you'll be like, boom. And I feel like your decision-making skills are epic. You know what I'm saying?
I enjoy pressure like situations. So,
but you you don't get. I don't ever see you flustered.
I think it's because at the end of the day, I truly don't care.
You cares nothing.
I don't know. I just don't. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to explain, but like you just make a choice and you live with it. I mean, of course, when you bring up draft and DraftKings and all that kind of stuff, I'll have these regrets where I want to go back and be like, I should have done this, I should have done that. I deal with that, but you wake up the next day, you move on. But
yeah, you don't let too many of those bother you.
No, but they bother you in the moment. They piss you off. Like that last year in football, there was a bad situation there. I lost some sleep over for a while.
What was the one that happened?
It was the World Championship, and Zeke Elliott got scratched at the last minute, and then you could have flexed to Tony Pollard and didn't.
And that was a decision that you were ready to make.
Oh, I was so close to making, and I just overthought it a little bit, I guess, and.
I remember one of the ones that I do remember that you've talked about was Carmelo Anthony in Syracuse.
Oh, yeah.
What was that story again?
No, I do. You always tell me I was riding with Carmelo all season.
All year.
All year.
He was like, these niggas about to win. I remember that.
And I was in a real high dollar tournament, like bracket.
Like ESPN or something?
No. It was like a expensive buy-in. It was like not one of those ones where there's like 20 million people. It's more like a 5K buy-in and there's like 100 people or something.
Okay.
It was a big boy. And
I always thought it was one of those ESPN joints for something.
No. And I had a real good one going, and I had
Kansas.
Basically, I pegged that it was going to be Syracuse and Kansas,
which is on the money.
And I went with Kansas.
Which is so fucked up.
I know. Hindsight is so
year.
Yeah, I was talking shit to everybody. This Carmelo kid you can't stop him. First of all, that's crazy. That was like in the college years, and that was Melo while he was in college, and now Melo's like 55.
So
think about that. Like that was Melo in freshman year of college, and it feels like that was fucking decades ago. It might have been. It probably was decades ago.
It had to be what? 2000?
2001 maybe?
Yeah, because LeBron came out in what, 03? So it had to be right around 01, 02, something like that. Yeah, but you've always done a good job in trying to relate and get it back to the business side. It's like you just got to make some decisions. Hopefully be prepared. Prepare yourself. Don't be an idiot. Put the time in, work a little bit, but when it's time to make a decision, make it.
I mean, I've gotten so much practice in the last I've been in business now for 5 years in this particular business, and I mean, again, I started this. I didn't know what the fuck these machines were called. I didn't know anything about this business. Literally nothing. Less than nothing.
Which is so awesome.
Less than nothing. Went out, bought hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars
worth
in
of machines
equipment with no ability to turn the damn things on, and then no jobs, no nothing lined up, and just built it and said, let's figure this shit out. And so along the way, I had 10,000
fuck-ups.
Fucking things that I had to decide, and like 9,400 of them were wrong, and 600 were right, and we're still going. Like you just had it, like you just make your mistake, move on. Make your mistake, learn. Don't make it again. That's the biggest thing that I could say to anyone that's going through this type of shit is make that mistake one time, make a million of them. Just don't make it again. If it's that fucked up, you won't.
Yeah, because I'm starting to. I don't really feel like I make a lot of the same mistakes.
Yeah, think about things that have happened in your business, and I'm sure if it what's the biggest fuck up, whether it be like on a shipping situation,
something like that. Yeah.
you know, or alignment on the, you know, on a shirt or something like that, or even not saving something on a camera, right? Or whatever, you know, right? Have you done any of those? You know,
Yeah, very, almost none. And if anything, because what happens is, and I've been talking about this a lot on the pod lately, the failures are low key your friend.
Totally.
Because those are your biggest data points.
And then when you get where you want to be, you've already made all the fucking mistakes. Like when shit's really important, and when you can, you know, when a fuck up can really kill you,
right?
You know, you
already
learned it. Yeah.
How do you feel? Let's transition this. How do you feel about mentorship, like getting into the room with the motherfuckers that know more than you? Like, are you big on that?
Great. I mean,
have you done that?
I mean, I'm trying to think of a good example of it. I mean, I always like to be around successful people just to kind of pick their brains, but then I am introverted in a way, you know, so that like I don't go out of my way to talk to everyone, but people that are interesting, that have an interesting story, I love to pick their brains. So I mean, I can think of a few, and if given the opportunity, I would, you know, I'm in. Yeah.
Would you pay $30,000 to spend a weekend with a killer?
I'd have to know
so whoever the killer is to you.
Yes. Yes.
So you believe in investing in yourself.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, more than that, I believe in learning from people who've done it,
and that where you want to be.
The only thing that I caution is to
trust.
Make sure that they actually have that. There's so much bullshit out there.
But let me rebuttal that, and you're right. That philosophy comes off as a little bit scarcity, and here's the reason why: is because even if you spend some good money on a shitty situation, there's still some silver lining in all the situations. Let's say you go to a conference and you didn't really learn much. You already knew there. But now you're in a room full of motherfuckers who are on the same shit you are. So now you have no idea who you could eventually connect with that could potentially, you know what I'm saying? So even in a situation where the networking alone sometimes is worth the money, just to know the motherfucker. Because obviously if you put yourself in a situation where if a nigga, like, okay, this might be worth $30,000, and then you come to find out he don't really know much, he obviously he's connected, networked enough for you to believe it originally that he was worth $30,000. So he probably has some type of something in the game that you can get value from, even if it was.
I guess what I was referring to would be more like not the example of $30,000, because someone that's doing a $30,000 like session is probably extraordinarily proven, I would think. I'm more talking about the people who are going to coach you for $1,000 or whatever, you know, whatever that is. There's a lot of that going out there that just, I don't know. You just have to be careful of that. You and I have a different philosophies, I think, on kind of consuming information. I'm much more hesitant to take information from someone that I don't know anything about, because like I don't know if it's true or not. You know, like I could learn it. I guess you can have your own.
That's my whole thing. Is that you just take it all in and then make your own shit. That's my whole thing.
I've known. Like,
wouldn't you want to know what the shit is? I feel like I would want it. Oh, okay, that sounds like some shit.
But there's a lot of shit that's just. Let me give you an example. Like this goes down a very sensitive road, but I'm saying like on TikTok. There's obviously the vaccination thing is a big hot topic right now. And so I watched this video.
The Delta variant.
Yeah, the
Delta.
So I'm watching this video, and this dude, you know, is on there, and he's like, how are you going to try and you want me to get vaccinated? All this, you know, but the CEO of Pfizer hasn't even gotten the vaccine. He refuses to get the vaccine. And I'm like, the fuck?
And that's
I'm
false.
like, that's crazy.
I mean, that would be.
So then it's like, that's not true. But
so it was false.
Yes. So there's so much of that shit going around that it's like, how do you decide what you're going to listen to?
Well, see, here's my thing, Steve. If you're about to just pay $1,000 for a course, hopefully, and I guess maybe some people just, you know what, fuck it, this is the way to do, because I guess people are like that. Just do some. You put a little time into the motherfucker, you know what I'm saying? the reason why I'm now more willing to pay for $1,000 course than I ever would before is because the person who I'm going to pay that, they've already been giving me free value that I've been leveling up on.
That's true.
So, like, for instance, a couple of these guys that I follow, like, once I get a little extra money, I'm going to do it. I'm going to put myself in a situation to talk to them.
Okay.
Because, and sometimes, and here's what I'm learning about business and everything. Sometimes the thing you need to know is a small thing. Like, oh, you didn't know that there's an app for that, you know. So, and until you know someone who already knows that, because there's so much information out here, and then there's like 1,000 trillion apps that can help all of us 1,000 different ways, and sometimes they're just have it might be worth $1,000 for this one person to give you this one nugget that could up you exponentially.
Yeah, I agree.
So I'm like, damn. So what I'm learning is and you're right. I take in a lot of knowledge, and maybe it's bullshit, sometimes it's not. But what I do is I try to formulate my own shit to the best of my ability, implement some of these things that I'm learning, see what I'm getting from the value of it, and say, oh, okay, damn, this nigga. Like with women, that was a huge one. And I'm like, all right, because the first time I was trying to learn how to approach women and understand them better, everything that I was learning was so different than what I already knew. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, damn, this sounds crazy what he's talking about. I've always lived this way. But it's like, well, guess what, nigga? You alone. You know what I'm saying? You got dumped, motherfucker. So I said, you know what, let me try it. Let me try some of this shit. So then I started implementing, like, oh, wait.
This works. This doesn't work.
Yeah, you know, but a lot of times, most of it works, especially more than what level I'm at. Now, I have heard this. Find whoever your mentor is. Like, let's say if you're doing one on YouTube, somebody you're following, take as much knowledge you can from them. And I feel like this is where I could get fucked up sometimes, where that's the end all be all. It's like, listen, as much as that nigga knows the game, he ain't God.
Yeah. No.
He's a human being that fucks up too. His way ain't the 100% way. It might be the best way you've ever come across. It might be the best way that I've ever felt, but that don't mean that he's 100% right. And I know sometimes, like, I follow niggas to the T.
Oh, you get hard.
I mean,
all in.
I'll be like, damn, because it should be working for me. But like I said, I gotta be careful.
I think, but let me ask you this too. Could it be that some of the reason why what you're doing is successful is you, but because now some newfound confidence?
Oh,
because you know what I'm saying? You have this guy who's telling you this is going to work. So now you feel like this sense of, confidence.
Well, because it has worked before, so I trust his value, his information.
But I'm saying, like, the first time you implemented it, do you think you carried in extra? Cause I'm just saying,
I would say so. I definitely would say in the very, very beginning, especially when it came to women, these new understandings, it was a little tough at first because I'm like, oh, wait, this is different. To be able to say that, to upset them, it felt so foreign because I was always like, don't upset them. You know what I'm saying? And when I'm realizing that they're human beings, like, they don't want to be treated like they're so special, like treat them fucking normal, essentially. But that was a hard thing to get at first, so I did not go into it as much confidence. Now, I will tell you this. Me being on the path of bettering myself and figuring it out gives me a little confidence because I know I'm putting time and work and energy in, which I know most people do not.
Right.
Unfortunately, if I'm telling y'all, let me go sidetrack. Anybody trying to do anything in life, I don't give a fuck what it is. Put that leg work in, man. Put a little time in.
Got to.
Sometimes it don't even just be just a little bit of time because some motherfuckers ain't doing nothing. So you're already ahead of the game by just sometimes just even thinking about it. Just think about this shit and you already better off than motherfuckers. I was in Wheeling today, and you know that McDonald's over there by BG High School?
Yep.
The sign said, if you believe, you're halfway there already. And like having the vision, I'm like, damn, that's so goddamn true, man. That you're already in the game. If you just find a way to believe in yourself. And I think that and this is another issue. Because when I talk to people, and some people come to me, for advice and shit like that, life coach type shit. Or sometimes they don't even come to me. I'll just notice that they have these limiting beliefs. And that's like a fucking, it's like a parasite in the disease in motherfuckers, man. Motherfuckers don't believe in themselves. And then sometimes where I believe in myself so much, they think that I'm crazy. That's a lot of times, like Kanye or even Trump. They think he's crazy. And I'm like, he's crazy because he believes he could be the president? I talked to some girl recently. She was like, really? You think? And I'm like, to me, I was like, absolutely. I really feel like he could do it because he believes he can.
Right.
And the proof's in the pudding from the motherfucker before now. We all laughed at that shit. We all thought it was a joke.
No way. Yep.
We're like, come on, bro. The president, Obama making fun of him. The nigga became the goddamn president, and half of the country fucks with him hard. Real hard. So it's like, well, you know what? That's why I'm not so quick to just fall in line with society, bro, because I'm like, society be wrong. I think I don't know if you saw what I tagged you in the Miss Thompson Gary V thing. It came up again, that clip.
Oh, that's great.
What about him swearing?
Yep.
In front of his kids. If anybody's never seen that, there's a clip of Gary V, and a lady goes, well, why do you have to swear so much in your, don't you think you could da-da-da-da-da? And he goes, in my core, instead of saying so-and-so needs this, how I talk is so-and-so is a fucking idiot or something. That's how I talk. That's how that's authentic to who he is. And then she goes, but wouldn't you think da-da-da-da? And she goes, if Miss Thompson is going to judge me, judge me for doing this, he's like, I'm willing to take whatever consequence that is from not Miss Thompson if I'm being my authentic self.
Yeah, 100%.
Someone, you said that with me with the N-word. Who still follows? He bought some shit, but I'll never forget. This is in the beginning of the shit. She was like, Chris, I love your content, da-da-da-da. She goes, maybe you should consider not saying the N-word so much. And I'm like, and in the beginning, because I'm still learning, I contemplated that. Because I'm like, well, that's a good point. What if you turn somebody off, da-da-da-da-da? But then I was like, first of all, CARESNONE. Mm-hmm. That's how the fuck I talk. So fuck you. And we could fight. The old me was like, we could fight about it if you got a problem with it. But here's the thing. That's Miss Thompson.
Yep.
You're claiming that you don't, that maybe it's a little the N-word, but you're watching, and you said that you like the content. And what I'm getting better is, and another thing too, like for instance, punctuation. I'm getting better now, and I think Derek put me on this. Like with someone's punctuation's way, like you reading the comments, and a nigga's way off, but he's making a point, and then I would be like, oh, I'm dismissed. In the grand scheme of things, that's kind of stupid, because there's a lot of successful motherfuckers mentally that are just dope people that just don't know how to fucking write, never taught that. But does that mean they're a fucking idiot? Because they didn't learn the bullshit English sentence, because they didn't go to school and fucking in Wheeling? I don't think I should necessarily dismiss.
I mean, it makes you question, like, I guess, what are you, like, if you don't learn that very basic, what I consider to be a necessity to do anything. I mean, I guess, like, Floyd Mayweather's like a good example of someone who is successful and is
literally can't read. Yeah. And there's a lot of them motherfuckers. Or for instance, let's say a nigga who never went to school but learned how to deal drugs, which is a fucking business with a lot more risk. So if you know how to deal drugs well, not get caught, make a lot of money, do it the right way, clean it up, you're smart. You're street smart.
Yeah.
And you could totally use those skills in the business world.
Yeah.
I think 50 Cent is really good at that. He uses, and Jay-Z, I think, too. They use a lot of the shit they learn in the streets to the same principles they use. But so my point is, and 50 Cent, I've noticed, has a lot of misspellings in his shit.
Oh, yeah?
But nigga, he's clearly successful. And he's more than just some flash in the pan rapper. He's a businessman, a successful one. So I'm like, maybe I shouldn't judge so heavily. Because, and how about this? What if the motherfucker made a point that I agreed with, but then his your was off? So, not now, so he's an idiot. But he agreed with my point.
Yeah.
So I think I want to be more compassionate. And Derek was like, yeah, because there's a lot of motherfuckers what about motherfuckers who don't know shit about English?
Yeah, so, that doesn't make you an idiot. Yeah, like he could be a genius, just don't know English.
You know what I'm
And
saying?
he's trying, like, yeah, so.
And he's trying, you know what I'm saying? Or what if that motherfucker, how do you know that same person who typed something on IG or whatever on Facebook, they haven't been working their ass off, and that's the level they are now, where before they knew nothing.
Right.
So I would actually be like, damn, if I knew you didn't know what a word was, and now you're just getting yours wrong,
Now
that
you respect
you're
the hell
fucking
out of
respect out of them.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to change my perspective. Dude, this whole life shit, bro, this whole life thing comes down to perspective.
Yeah.
And how we see things and interpret this shit, man. And and especially with this business shit, just like you, bro, I knew nothing. And and it's like, man, like in order to run a successful one, you got to have all your ducks. Like to get to Nike, dude, it's multifaceted.
Oh yeah.
So like, and I'll be and there's not that much time in a day, and there's not that much relatively. There's enough time to do, but if I'm trying to scale to that, I cannot take on these things. So I have to change my perspective and find a way to get other motherfuckers involved. So either pay them, which is probably the quickest, smartest way to do it. I don't know about smartest, but definitely the quickest, most efficient. Or find someone who's on the up and up, come up, and they grow with me.
Right.
So I don't know if what do you suggest as a way to ask that?
Like we talked about this before. The only example that I could remember was the Barstool when Portnoy was getting that going. It was on one of his like documentaries or whatever. But basically, he was starting up. Everyone told him he was crazy. He was trying to do the sports newspaper, and he needed writers, and he didn't have a pot to piss in. So he kind of put out some ads and was like, "Hey, I'm looking for writers. I can't pay you, but if we make this something." It
was already growing a little bit?
No.
Oh, so it was like not
bullshit. Like,
like,
total fucking bullshit. It was.
So that you would
trash.
say he was even less than what CARESNONE would be at this point?
Yeah, I mean, you tell me. He had like rented out 30 of those little like newspaper boxes, and he was driving around in a van with like a 2-page newspaper that had like sports columns in it, but like,
and he was doing it all by himself.
Yeah, I mean, but then he brought on like writers, but everybody was unpaid. I mean, he had no money. So I'm saying that's one path that because I mean, I don't know, unless you have investment and you've got a big amount of money to throw at it and basically build this team, knowing that eventually it will lead to.
And I think and a lot of business doing that. But here's another fucking lesson that I'm learning from these. I follow there's this clothing brand called World Envision. 2 young black dudes crushing it, just fucking.
Yeah, I remember you telling me.
Yeah, crushing it. And one of the things that I learned from them, and we talked about this a little bit off camera, is raising money for capital, right? Mm-hmm. And then let's say you go to the bank. So you got CARESNONE, motherfuckers buying it. You got photos, so there's social proof, which is huge. You need that. But unfortunately, when it comes to raising capital, the banks don't give a fuck about your pictures. Show me the numbers.
Yeah, watch Shark Tank. It'll give you a perfect example.
You know what? I just watched this to a podcast this morning with that Kevin O'Leary fool, and he was saying what he's learned, the two things that out of all these years, I think it's 5 years or something now, or whatever it is. He goes, the two things that most of the people who get selected, the pitches, they all have this. When you ask them what they do, they can answer the question very precisely in 60 seconds. Okay. No fluff. He goes, a lot of times the motherfuckers, it's 2 hours and they still ain't figured out exactly what the fuck they do or what it is they're about.
Long-winded, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like find a way to clean up your message, clarity. That's nothing I've been learning. It's like you got to be more, which actually proves my point. Clarity. It goes to this next point. And then number 2, show me the numbers.
Yeah.
Show me what your sales. Show me, because then and now I'm like, damn, and that's definitely one of my issues. It's always been, and normally I would have been like, I'm not a math guy, right? We've talked about this, and I've never been great with numbers. There's an aspect of, well, just put some time in, sit down, there's calculators and shit, just figure it out. There's time, but then there's also that's a learning curve and an energy curve. I can maybe get someone else to do that.
Sure.
And there's apps and shit to help you get it done too, right? So he was like, you got to get your numbers right.
Yeah, because I mean, like, have you watched a lot of Shark Tank?
A few. I just started getting into
Oh,
it
yeah,
recently.
It's just like it's great for figuring out kind of what an investor
Is looking for.
wants, because the short answer is if an investor is interested in your business, it means your business is doing something right. And if your business is doing something right, an investor is going to be interested in your business. So like if you have real good profit margins, keep your costs down, and even if you're not scaled out, but that you show that there's a demand,
right.
and you can show that you can produce it at a good profit, they got the ability to get it out.
Yeah, and then they'll get your team. They'll get the teams in there.
Yeah, they got the perfect, like whether it be the one girl that she specializes in like that. Fuck is that TV show that they sell shit on? I can't remember.
Oh, QVC.
QVC, yeah. She specializes in QVC. You obviously got Cuban, who's networked all through and through, and you got the guy who did FUBU. There's just this huge team of people, and they can kind of figure out based on what you do, what your specialty would be. So yeah, like if you were gonna want to be on Shark Tank, you would need to show that you've got your numbers in line, meaning you're making a good profit, and that you basically just need to be able to scale it out, and they would be able to help build a team.
But here's another thing that I have to learn too, is taking action, right? But one of those things is, for instance, my systems. I need to find a way to document my systems, and then find a way to pay we talked about this, paying myself. Like that's still confusing to me. That whole paying yourself, even though I'm the one running it. So then so when you no longer want or can do that, you know exactly what it would cost. So try to explain to me. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Can you break it down? Because I'm still learning that.
This is in my opinion that as a business owner, you need to pay yourself. Not just profits at the end of the year or whatever, but you need to, if you want to get your systems correct and you want to have your business run right now you're doing everything. And in order to appropriately price the merchandise for the future, you need to be able to price it factoring in that one day someone else is going to be making that shirt, like doing the work and, driving it to get it shipped and all that. So, you're not doing the business any favors, in my opinion, to be a free employee. So
right, because that's what it feels like.
You're going to quickly identify problems. Like that was something that I did do early on, where I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna
put my blood, sweat, and tears.
Yeah, I'm gonna do all this, and it's cool. The next thing I know, I'm bidding this job, and all the while I'm looking at all these numbers, and I'm bidding it like there's a free guy here, like that isn't a thing. So yeah, like you have to build it to be successful. Now I understand that you need to, get customers and advertise, and you need to do all those things. So certain sacrifices need to be made. But I mean, even if it's not like what you want to make in the future, it's just you just can't not do that, or you can reinvest it back into the company. You need to kind of get going on a process that has your business used to paying someone to do the work that you're doing. So that I think is.
And
very
you helped
important.
me. I remember you said so. The way I'm running my business model right now is I'm the one making the products, right? Which is dope. One dope is because the quality control, right? That quality control is epic because I know that I won't send it out. But there's other sources that, like Teespring, where you just give them the make this, and when the orders come in, they send it out. Now, obviously, there's pros and cons to that. The pro is you don't got to do none of that shit. The con is, and you get your time. The con is they take a percentage of the monies.
Sure.
And then two, the quality control, again, they are not CARESNONE. So they're more willing to let shit slide to get it out, and they'll just deal with it afterwards, right? So, but what you told me, if I'm not mistaken, was go do the research for what it would cost to do that, And then that would be a good way.
Make that your cost. And then the added value will be that you're putting that quality control into it. And the good news is if you're ever in a position where you need to, outsource it, you can.
And then I'm aware of what it costs.
Right.
So you're not fucking yourself. Or trying to.
Yeah, I just the problem is, again, by you donating your time, eventually you're going to have to hike prices up.
Yeah, because that's what it's doing. And here's the cool part that anybody who's trying to start some business, when I'm learning and when it's something that you fuck with, it's one thing if you're making good money, you're trying to start this business and you're making couch pillows and that's not what you love to do, and you're working 13 hours, that shit sucks. If you're doing anything that you don't love to do, that 13 hours is like living in hell.
Yeah.
But if you genuinely give a fuck about it and you see the bigger picture, even the shit that doesn't necessarily that's not as fun, like for instance, editing, I hate it, but I also love the fact that when I do finish this, I get to get the shit out. So that helps me get through working longer hours to do something because I give a fuck about the outcome and what I'm ultimately doing.
Yeah, to me in my business, it's bidding, like bidding the jobs. I hate that part. I absolutely fucking hate.
So
I like selling
so what is it? So explain what the bidding process takes.
So there's a blueprint that comes in. You need to get the blueprint out. Then you need to analyze.
Where do you get the blueprint from?
I mean, it could be from a lot of sources, direct from owners, from a general contractor.
All right, so start me from the beginning. Talk to me like I know nothing. So talk to me. So tomorrow, you want to start.
So I got a phone call.
Okay.
I'll give you an example. Like I actually got a phone call yesterday from a guy building like a 150 unit apartment complex.
So how did he get your number?
He got my number through a friend that I worked with on a previous job in a different trade.
So now we're at base zero.
So he called me up and said, "Hey, I heard you do this. Would you be interested? Do you have any availability?" I said, "Yeah." All right, cool. Send me the plans. Cool. So he sends them to me, and now what I'm going to need to do is, analyze them, kind of go through, and you've been out there, so you kind of see. So I need to now, walk through that whole process, find out how much dirt's going to go out, how much stone's coming in, how much material costs are going to be, how many man hours it's going to take, fuel consumption, equipment time, like kind of all of those things,
all the shit,
and then all the stuff that might happens, and so I got to go through all of that and then have to put it onto a formal proposal where that's probably the worst part for me is like formatting these bids. I like to, make them look very presentable, and the computer stuff's not my forte. So oftentimes Kevin will help me, with that side of it. But it's just a long, tedious process, and it's not very rewarding.
So that's a pain point.
I hate it. Well,
so what's the way to eliminate that? So are you essentially doing what we're talking about? Like you're doing these things that you absolutely hate. Is there a way to not do it?
Yeah. Well, yes, there is, but that's going to require me to let go of some of the control because, and this is exactly what we're talking about, where you need to be able to do that and you need to be able to trust people. But that's one of those things where if someone screws that up,
that's a big deal.
That number, yeah. Like I can live with screwing something up and having it affect myself. I'm not gonna be too happy if someone does it to me,
right.
So. It's just one of those things, but like
eventually, is there going to come a time where you're going to either learn how to love it or find someone that'll do it that you trust?
Yeah, and see, I've had estimators that work with
that's
us.
What that job's called, the estimator.
Yeah, and so I've had that, but then the part that sucks is that at the end of the day they'll put all the calculations together, but then I still have to kind of go through it all myself to come up with the numbers. So. It's not like I could just have a guy that does it all and then bang. It's once I have my systems in place, we will be able to do that. That's the problem too, is I don't have good enough systems to just say one run of pipe and one structure costs this exact amount. You know what I mean? After enough.
And that just takes time to learn.
Just having enough data points to go off of, and you can, use that. And then things.
And
will
that
get
just
easier.
comes with just experience, unfortunately.
But it's like, so to be clear, like these estimating processes, it's like a 3-day. It'd be like a 3-day edit for you. You know what I mean? Like it's just
It's a thing, and you got
Fuck.
then you got to do it.
yeah,
But you know, after you do it, it's fucking vicious.
yeah. And I love selling it. I now love doing it. It's just that fucking bidding, man. And the shitty part is that because I hate it so much, I don't bid as much. Like you almost have to sell me to bid your shit. Because I'm like, I am not about to waste 3 hours of my time so you can go price shop me against somebody else. Tell me why you want me to bid this job with you. You know, you walk me through. I'm gonna make you. We're gonna go visit. We're gonna sit down at a table. We're gonna have a coffee to get like. We're gonna talk, and I'm gonna make sure you're fucking serious. Because if you just want a number, I mean, there's a lot of that too. And so early on, when I had, I was full of piss and vinegar. I was bidding these things left and right, and I'd spend days and days, and then I'd be like, they won't even fucking pick up the phone. Kind of burnt me out a little bit.
Less, now you're just a little jaded towards this situation too.
So yeah, the answer is find someone that loves to do it or is really good at it, and
that you vibe with too. Mm-hmm. That's a big part of it too, right?
For sure. And then let me go do what I'm good at.
Right, because you enjoy the selling part. You enjoy the doing it now part.
Love it.
But you don't like that part.
And guess what? If you don't sell the jobs, then if you don't bid the jobs, there's no selling them or doing them. So it's almost like one of the most important parts, but I just fucking hate it.
Yeah, kind of like a dishwasher at the restaurant. Like, it's like one of those jobs that's not very coveted, but it's like the most important job, and it has to get done. And to be honest, if your dishwasher's dope, that's vicious for your restaurant. But if the dishwasher's brutal, that could fuck
really
your whole shit up. Right? But it's one of those things. But then, how many owners?
You can't treat them like the talent, and you're not gonna go pay them the top wages to the dishwasher.
Isn't that fucked? So it's interesting. Because it's like arguably the most important. It's got to be up there in the top 2 or 3 most important jobs.
As far as like, it's like an offensive lineman where like
offensive linemen get paid a fuck ton of money.
You're important as hell, but like if you fuck up, like you're gonna really fuck up.
See, now I kind of like that philosophy. Like if there's some good money on the line, you got to perform. Right?
Oh, yeah.
So, and I'm okay with so the one thing I didn't hate about my boss or anybody who, when you see the big dog getting in the mud, I've always respected that because then the owner's busting tables. Like, nigga, and you're mad that he's yelling at you for talking on the phone when there's 3 bus tables need to be bust? Like, I understand that. So to me, I'd be like, there's no way. Because I don't want motherfuckers coming. I don't like motherfuckers talking to me crazy. And then you're giving them a reason to talk. And so when you bust your ass as the big dog, personally, I've always taken that as a, damn, okay, he's leading by example. Like, I can't fuck around because it'll come at me.
I guess I look at it like I would prefer you to do, unless that's like he's doing it well.
Which we talked about in the beginning.
Yeah, you'd rather him be doing
something
that he's good at doing. I mean.
So I agree with that based on what I've been learning, what we talked about, and mind you, as much as he's busting ass, him being there alone could still fuck shit up just because of his energy. Mm-hmm. But the reason I brought that up is if a nigga he's busting ass, so yeah, he gonna come at you a little sideways because you being ridiculous, nigga. Like I used to always wonder, like nigga, of course they're yelling at you. Look what the fuck you're doing. I used to always look at that, Now, my whole thing is I don't like being yelled at, especially for something I'm like, dude, first of all, I treat people like how I would treat, like a basketball team. Everyone's different. I'm coming correct and I'm doing as I'm told. You don't got to worry about me for the most, you know what I'm saying? Don't talk to me crazy, especially when I didn't do anything wrong on purpose. So let me give you an example what I mean to make this clear. There's a situation where I was on a party and with someone and I had a partner and these people ordered dessert, so they had to be out. They sat down at like 5 and they had 2 strong hours because we have another party coming in at 7:15, so we need to have them up.
Yep.
And some shit happened, and there was some miscommunication. I had nothing to do with it personally, but I am still attached to the party, so I understand from the boss man's perspective, I'm part of this. But they didn't get desserts. They were like vicious, and our desserts take a little time. They had to be out at 7. They ordered them at like 6:50, which means so I get the I get it, right?
Yeah.
But the way he spoke to me, I'm like, well. So the first thing I said, he came at me. He goes, "What the fuck is this, the motherfucker?" And I'm like, I said, Parker, first of all, you know I come hard for you, brother. Don't talk to me that way. I literally said that. Yeah. I come hard for you. He goes, no. I'm like, that's what you're saying right now. Like I said, don't talk to me that way. You know, at the end of the day, fuck this. I didn't say this, but I'm thinking, fuck this job. Because I can literally go next door and get a job, and I'll beat your ass. Right? So don't talk to me, especially because I come hard for you, bro. Yeah. Like, what? Some of these niggas hate your guts, and I hate your guts too, but then they're doing dumb shit on behind. Like, I'm not doing that. And not that you necessarily know that, but I'm like, dude, I give you energy. I come in, I give you love. Like, don't talk to me that way.
Sure.
And, but he would talk to you crazy, and I'm like, that's why I like you, and I see how you talk. Like, there's no need to talk to human beings that way, especially if you know that they don't know dumb shit. Now, if they don't dumb shit, I still think there's a way to maybe not, cuss a nigga out personally, but I get it. You fucking up, nigga. I get it. As a matter of fact, that Kevin O'Leary dude today was talking about, somebody asked him, like, how do you know when you need to fire somebody? It's like the hardest thing to do. Right? Would you agree that's one of the hardest things to do?
I mean, I guess for me personally, no, but here I have a reason. I have a reason for it. Actually,
he's a cold, hard asshole.
No, it's because if I'm at the point where I'm going to fire somebody, it's so obvious that it needs to be done that I don't feel bad about it. You know what I mean? Like, I'll give a motherfucker some chances, and so. Yeah, I mean, if you've given enough chances and you've talked to and you've been given a fair shot and you fuck up, why should I feel bad about it? Like you made the choice, not me.
Now, some people would say, and I don't agree with this, but like, damn, his pregnant wife.
Yeah, but then why is he a piece of shit?
I get it.
Yeah, like you don't just get unlimited chances because you got a pregnant wife. Like you were given a warning, don't fuck up.
Like, nigga, his kids ain't eating no more.
Yeah. Sleepy Joe's got him on lockdown. You don't got to worry about that.
This is going to be a controversial statement, but a lot of people say this is going to be very controversial. Disclaimer. That's why men tend to be better in those type of positions because they have less empathy for shit like that. They're more cutthroat. Whereas women, not saying that they can't, but emotionally, they think about the pregnant wife. They think about the family. They think like somebody goes, hey man, we gotta fire 500 people today. The woman naturally, because they tend to be nurturing, they tend to give a fuck, they tend to be nicer human beings. They would think about it. Not saying they couldn't, but more often than not, it'd be harder for them. Whereas a guy like, yeah, fuck him. Like you literally just said, hey, not my fault. You literally said you don't give a fuck about firing motherfuckers.
Hang on. No, hang on.
That's what you just said.
Hang on. Okay. You're taking it to an extreme.
Of course.
I'm not just like little old Johnny comes in and
fuck him.
Wait, we gotta save. We gotta put another 50,000 on the bottom line this year. So fire Johnny and his fucking. No, that I'd feel bad about. Example of like laying off due to like just being slow or something. Yeah, that would be tough. That I agree. But due to someone's just lack of production, what you're saying kind of reminds me of like how, like people can slaughter like a cow or whatever, but like if you give it a name or something, like it's a lot harder to kill that thing if it's like Daisy, like damn.
Have you ever had food that was just killed?
I'm not sure. Oh yeah,
fish.
No, well probably for sure fish. Yeah, but I remember one time I ate like a duck and the kid was like, "Hey man, make sure you don't spit out the buckshots or." There's some like little BBs in that shit, so you had to like spit them out. So that was
Did you
pretty
catch
fresh.
one? Did you catch a BB?
Yeah,
Like,
it was loaded with them. Little ass duck got shot like probably 5 feet away.
Blast off. Oh man, I've never. Like, you ever had farm fresh eggs?
I probably have, but I don't know.
People say game changer.
Like meaning like they just rolled out the
Like straight from the front, not the bullshit we get at the stove. Like the shit we get at the stove, you know, and it's always the same size. But like somebody gave me, and I didn't eat them because I was weird about it. But a nigga offered me a carton. He's like, "Hey man," because we had this conversation. He goes, "No, I got chickens. I'll give you some eggs." I'm like, okay. But I
Oh,
don't
you get it at the farmer's market like that, right?
I guess I went to a farmer's market the other day. Nigga had some peaches.
Oh, those are dope. Yeah, the farmer's markets are cool.
How do you feel about organic shit?
I think it's all a scandal, but
You
yeah.
what about the pesticides and shit?
I mean, I just think that they're like, yep, blink, and some of them get the organic stickers, and some of them get the.
Oh, you think it's that fucked up? You think they just literally just? There's got to be some rule. As a matter of fact, I went to a farmer's market. And the person I was with said that in order to label, and again, who the fuck is she? I didn't do any research. She said what she knows. In order to label something organic, it's only got to be like a small percentage organic.
Makes
So
sense.
it's like not even enough to do anything, but it's more than nothing, so they can label it that.
That makes sense.
So yeah, but I don't think it's literally like organic.
Not
Not
organic.
organic.
Yeah, this is an organic. The one before it came out the same machine, not organic.
I had a peach. First of all, you fuck with peaches?
Yeah.
When's the last time
My
you had a
middle name's
peach?
Peach.
Okay, nigga, that might be the new fruit, nigga. That's more vicious than watermelon, I think.
I had peach cobbler the other day.
Oh well, yeah, that's. You know what? Now that I think about it, I do love peaches. I didn't because I love peach cobbler. I just thought about that, but it's different. Peach cobbler and a fresh peach is different.
It's different, but it's peaches.
It's still peaches. It's still peaches. But I've always been a watermelon guy, which is still fire. Don't get me wrong. That shit's in my soul. But nigga, I had a juicy peach from the farmer's market. It was, well, I had one the first day and it wasn't. It was still a little tough.
Yeah, they get a little tough, but then they soften up.
And I was like, God, jeez, I was like this shit, and it was delicious. And you can eat almost the whole thing.
Oh yeah.
We're like all the other fruits, man,
get
all the
way down
bullshit, just a little nut, the little testicle. No, man, but so just to we're in this one. Let's get at a good time.
All right.
Give me 3 pieces of advice for new entrepreneurs. What's the 3 things, no matter what it is, what angle, mental, this, give 3 pieces of advice you would give to somebody who wants to start their own shit.
I mean, number one, far and away, would be do it and don't stop till you get to where you want to go. Like, meaning just push through that bullshit. Push through the little devil that's going to tell you to stop. Push through it all.
Because everyone gets that.
I mean, at least everyone I've ever known that has gone through something has experienced that to some degree. And we always talk about it, that I think that, like, that's just the way life is, where you're never going to get anything real good without having to cross that threshold of.
What I always say, Steve, the good shit happens after the bullshit.
It's true. Yeah, you're gonna get tested, because otherwise everybody would do it. So definitely that would be my number one piece of advice.
As a matter of fact, in my wall, so I got a bunch of affirmations written all over my wall and shit. That's how crazy that is.
Cool.
And one of the things is the only way you can fail is by never starting or giving up. Now, I know some people might say, well, you need to know when to count your chicken, or that whole thing. Like, sometimes you got to pivot. Maybe you don't have enough talent. Or how do you answer that? Some niggas say, nigga, all right, you've been in business for 5 years, ain't shit popping. Maybe you should try something else. I know that thing. That's a good one.
Let's be real with ourselves. There is situations where you got to fold them. That's true, but you got to give it a full run. Like, you can't be stopping because.
Give me a situation in your situation where you would have to fold it.
Oh, like the economy's totally fucked and like nobody's.
Okay. So my situation is, okay. So even if everything's fucked, then you just find a way to keep going, or when you get back, you'll get back at it, right?
Yeah, you could do that for sure. But I'm just saying you could be like upside down. I'll give you an example. Like you're a home builder in 2008, and you have like $700 million in like real estate, properties that you just acquired, and you're starting to build them, and like what should have been worth $300,000 went down to like $100,000. You know what I mean? Like there's a point where you're just like, take it. Like there's no reason to push through it. There is, and there's some business plans that are just not good. That just don't work. Like, and maybe you could adjust it and.
See, I guess, and maybe it's because I haven't, for CARESNONE, there's situations where the business account number could get to a scary level because I've invested it back in. Mm-hmm. But as long as I sell that inventory, I can go up. So it's like essentially, I never have to hit zero unless I'm thinking once I start getting other people at play, and then there's like salaries, and then
that's where it could get really tough. Is it? Again,
so it's by yourself. It's a lot easier to not quit.
For
right?
Sure.
Okay.
Oh yeah. But if you've got the 20 employees and the money's not coming in, there could be.
But my advice, and again, I'm who the fuck am I? I'm not just some crazy super entrepreneur yet.
Yep.
Yeah.
I like that. See that?
I would say. So when the 2008 situation happens, and it's gonna be ugly, it's a bloodbath, right? And it's gonna hurt, and you might have to just hang them up for a minute. But just because you folding those cards, man, you still at the table. You can play another hand, or you know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
So I'm like, because so I read that book, one of the 16 Laws of Success, right? And one of the laws is consistency. So I can only imagine some of the things that I've done, and I just, for whatever reason, something happened, so I stopped. Like, for instance, when I was DJing and I sold, some shit happened, sold my turntables, which means right now I'm at ground zero because now I can't spin no more. But my next move should have been finding how to get the turntables back.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But so at that point, I was ground zero. Again, I was working by myself. But I was at ground zero, and I never went back, which is dumb. Had a passion for it and everything.
That's what I was going to say. If you have a passion for it, then another answer to give me an example of someone that should close the business down would be like if you lose your passion and you just aren't into it anymore, and obviously
that's fair for them.
But then try something different. And that's what most entrepreneurs will do. You'll get on to the next thing. Most entrepreneurs that I've known, or they'll go through
like when shit hit the fan,
20 things before they find the one that they really love too. That is okay as well. It's just to keep trying and making adjustments, and like that guy from Draft, Jeremy Levine,
the owner,
the owner of Draft, right? And he's
still the owner,
dude. No, he sold it.
That's
he's fucking sold like 5 businesses. So he builds them,
sells them,
develops it. Sells them, builds it, develops them, sells them.
Now, let me ask you this, because you got to speak to him on a little bit more deep level,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Is he one of these creators of people kind of human beings?
Oh, yeah.
Like, okay, I want to do this, so let's get this guy involved.
100%. He's got money guys. He's got IT guys. He's got, he's got all that. Like,
he's almost like the DJ Khaled of business.
Yeah, because he's not the master of anything. He'll put together the team. And he's willing to roll the dice,
It seems like that's the fucking key, man. That I get it now. It's because it's like, and I know we talked about this a little earlier. I can't do it all.
No.
And the thing is, it's like, and with me, it's a money issue too. Sometimes it's like, oh well, I'm not gonna pay this guy $150 when I can do it myself. But that's like, but that costs you 4 hours. So how much is your time worth? And that's what's starting to click. It's like, I could do it. Because I believe I can do any fucking thing. And I probably do a decent job at it. But unfortunately, what I also know is that in order to be decent at something, you're going to put some time into it.
Yeah, like LeBron James can clean his house, but he's got more important shit he could be doing.
Right. Like practicing the goddamn free throws.
So pay fucking the
Right.
Pay the
Now, but in his situation, he actually has the money. So what about a month? So what would be your advice to? There might be a point where you have to do in the beginning when you're trying to raise capital for yourself. You have to put the work in.
Sure.
So like I feel like I'm at a level now personally where I still, unfortunately, until I get to a level, or figure out the number side of it and have it so on point, and then you go to someone who had it and say, this is what I need, but it's all, and if it's clean, if it's like a legit business plan and it's legit, then that's how I can get around that, right? Because no one's just going to just give it to you unless they have some type of, unless they give a, like if you're going to invest in someone, you got to trust that there's a reason you're not going to just throw away, money just cause. Yeah. But in order to, my point is to really get that, have your ducks in a row, and then you can really go to some banks and shit and get some real money.
Yeah.
So that would be my advice to someone or to myself. And that's definitely one of my issues. Is like, gotta get the organization. That's why like that having Kevin like, that's so gangster, bro. His philosophy for business, it's like you need that.
Oh yeah, there would be no way.
He's a gangster.
It would not work.
Bro.
I would not survive without him doing.
Because I know you used to handle issues with. Tell me if I'm wrong. Just pay it.
Oh yeah.
And he's like, "That's dumb. We're not gonna pay that."
Yeah. Let's figure this out and hold everyone accountable. Versus like, I just don't want to spend the time on that. And it's important because people they'll figure that out and then start taking advantage.
Yeah, that's a huge dude. Being on point of the numbers, which comes down to one of the ultimate goals is clarity. To see everything.
There's not 1 cent. Not one. Literally, I'm not exaggerating this. Not 1 cent since we started this business that we do not know exactly where it went and for what. Maybe except for that gas receipt.
Damn.
Damn. I'm just kidding. But no, there was like just everything is so meticulously accounted for, and I'm literally not capable of it. So I know what you're saying, because if I had to do what you're doing and do that part, it just wouldn't work. Like I can't. I can do it,
but it's the time.
It's just too much fucking time. Like you said, when you're so inexperienced at it, it would just take so much learning and so much time
to get it
you'd
efficient.
be doing nothing else.
Right.
Yeah, and so then you have to kind of prioritize, and that's not.
And that's another thing too, because with CARESNONE, for instance, there's a lot of it's multifaceted. There's a lot of things that I do to make this whole thing make sense, right? But what I'm learning is all these business motherfuckers say, man, you might have to really do some shit to focus on something or get the team to do the other parts.
Right.
So it's like, man, so let me just throw it out there. And again, I'm doing all this and don't know none of it. I'm learning all of it as we go. From marketing your shit to learning how to brand your shit, right? Or CARESNONE. I still got my social media following that I have to keep because that's what got this whole thing. Mm-hmm. So I still got to be on the comedy shit. I mean, I don't have to, but in order to keep what I think is going, then I got to try to learn these. I'm thinking I still got to learn these new ones. I got to be on TikTok because that's the new way to get the social media game. Everyone's saying you're stupid if you're not on TikTok, which we said this because it's the fastest growing one. Then I got to find new ways to learn how to press the shit and make the physical products. Then I'm still working on my own mental. So and to me, that might be the most important when I got to figure out, get rid of my procrastinations, get rid of my self-belief and disbeliefs. Which takes the most time.
Oh yeah. And
it's like, and that's the one thing good about being on your own time. But it's like, I'm spread thin.
Then you got to do the accounting and the number. Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I need a team now.
So naturally, you're gonna put whatever you are least good at or like least toward the back, right?
Like the accounting part,
right? So
which is probably the most important part. Arguably. As a matter of fact, if you're going to raise capital, it's the most important part. Then nigga Kevin O'Leary literally said it today. He goes, have your fucking plan and have your numbers right. That's what niggas look for.
Oh, yeah, because, again, you go in to try and pitch something, and they're like,
nigga, they going to
so
laugh
show
at
me exactly.
You got some pictures, nigga?
What you did, and you're like, I think it's like,
no.
They would laugh you right the fuck out.
Right, they like, who let this motherfucker in the door?
How, you wouldn't even get past the front door, yeah.
Right, so I'm not even going to waste my time coming at them yet, but I'm telling you this now. I promise you, one way or another, it's going to get figured out.
Yep.
Because at the very minimum, I'm going to have someone else do it.
Yeah, that's what you might need to do.
And at the, like I said earlier, they got these apps like QuickBooks. Like, there's ways to at least make it easier.
For sure. But there's also people who are really good at this that
like to do it too.
Yeah, that it's going to be like what you're saying is a problem. They're like, this is fucking nothing.
Right.
Yeah, like this is the easiest thing that I've ever heard in my life. You know, that's what. So
and like the advertisement, I know a little bit more than the average person because I've been putting time in courses and shit, but it still feels like Spanish. But in order to scale in e-commerce business, you have to know the advertisement.
Right, for sure.
It's just you have to. And but here's the problem: if you don't really know, you could literally just be pissing your money out the window. And when you're an up and coming business and you still got other life and shit, it's really hard to just piss money out the window trying to learn lessons.
Yeah.
So that I'm gonna have to, you know.
And that's the other thing where sometimes paying someone who already knows those answers could maybe might end up saving you. Like it sounds more expensive, but
right.
You're actually saving in the long run.
Which is a philosophy thing that I'm learning. It's like, and that like nigga, like even just like with bills and shit, bro. I've always had a hard time with this in life, and I wonder what this is of just do it now. Like, I have this weird feeling, I'm being vulnerable as fuck, I don't give a fuck. Like, let's say my number in my account is at this level, and I know I got a bill due tomorrow. It takes a lot out of it, because I don't want to see the number go down.
Yeah, you hold on.
Yeah, and then sometimes I don't do it. And
Yeah.
Until you have to. Sometimes I'm not going to pay that because I don't want to see that number go down. Which,
what if something more pressing comes along? Or
that's kind of what the feeling is. What if I need this? But that's scarcity, right?
Yeah.
That's a scarcity mindset.
Well, 100%.
Because I was like, I even then when I'm like, dude, that's dumb. Even if something happens, that's one less thing because now you'll have two things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's like now you got two, and then you got to make a decision. Like, oh shit. And then let's be honest, you say it might be more important, but and it with me, it's not. It really isn't a reason of I want to save money to buy some shit. I'm not on that. No, I think at one point it was.
Yeah. I
might want to buy these shoes. So I think I've eliminated that, but now I just don't want to see the number go down because I've been there where I'm minus 50, you know, and and you just don't want to see that, and then you know that can spiral pinball and they can get way out of control, you know. And so I gotta change my philosophy, and I think that just comes with the scarcity mindset. Like, nigga,
Definitely.
let it go.
Definitely.
Let it go.
It'll come back.
It's a flow.
Yeah.
And the more you're taking care of it, and I'm talking to myself, the more I'm taking care of that shit, the more good shit will happen. Cause and let's think about the opposite. The more you don't take care of that shit, the more opportunity there is for more shit to compound on top of that. Now you gotta deal with this. And we both know my person. How many times like for instance, I used to always say, Chris, man, you know, I got the worst luck with tires. It's like, nigga,
you ain't got no bad luck with tires. Yeah, you gotta you see the wire and you keep driving.
Right, like nigga, like right now I got a little wire. It's like nigga, like
that's not bad luck. That's just you're just
bullshitting,
letting the time bomb go off. Yeah,
right.
You got a ticking time bomb.
And it's like what the fuck is that? It's just bad habits, obviously.
It's not. You're right. It's a scarcity mindset. You need to feel that, like, get comfortable feeling that burn, and know that just know that like it's all gonna be good. Like I don't know about you. Again, I operate my best when my back's to the wall. So like if like that, what you're explaining right there would be a dream. Like as far as like just like, oh okay, like I'm gonna figure this out.
So we got a little here
because now I gotta like now I gotta figure something out. And when I have to figure something out, that's when good shit goes down. So it's like,
And if I listen to my own fucking advice, and not necessarily that this is bad shit, but when the shit gets hairy, typically the good shit's right behind that.
Yeah, but just think. So if you're worried about your account dropping down, the number going down, you'd be like. But if it does go down, I don't know about you, but I feel like you'd be more likely to come up with a solution. Let's say to like, I got to make a little more money, or I got to do whatever to get some more money. Versus because your number's up, you're like this false sense of comfort that like you're like, I'm good, but you're not.
You're not good at all.
You're just like fake good until the bottom goes up.
Then now you're fucked.
Just get it out. Take that, jump in that cold shower,
call it,
and then
just
figure
it out. Kind of like another thing too with paying for the membership for the year versus monthly.
Yep.
Are you a monthly or a yearly guy? Or does it depend on the thing?
Well, I guess it depends on the thing because like I also like the ability to like back out. Like, you know, if I was like contracted, let's say I'm paying for 12 months no matter what, and one's cheaper, then I'd pay the 12 months obviously and save the money. But if
Amazon, you pay the yearly?
I don't pay. Courtney does the Amazon.
Would you pay the yearly?
Well, I don't even know what the deal is. What's the deal?
It's a good point. Cheaper? But I would admit, yes, I think it's definitely cheaper.
And are you locked in? Because again, I like to be able to get out. So if I could, again, if it's month to month and it's a couple bucks more, but I'm able to bail whenever I want.
So to you, that's worth it.
Depending on what it is.
Depending on what it is.
But yeah, oftentimes I would do that, I guess, just because I don't like to be stuck in anything. But
you know what else I've had an issue with, and I'm getting better with this now, but I had an issue with this is when you owe something, even in those situations, it's not as dire as this is my old thinking. It's like, oh, okay, I owe them niggas some money, but okay. Like,
I don't even know what you're saying. What does that mean?
Like for instance, like an important bill or a student loan or some shit, and you're just like, you know what? I ain't got it. So, you know.
Well, first of all, this pandemic has like taken that to like level 12 for everybody. Like, it's just everyone's just like, what you gonna do? Like at the end of the fucking day, what you gonna do? And everyone's just like, I don't know.
But I felt this way even before the pandemic, though. I was always like, but now, long-term, big vision thinking, like that little shit could fuck with your shit in the long run if you don't take care of it.
Definitely.
So now I'm like, oh, nigga.
Also, just I guess this helped me big time with this, but like picture that you are like that. Picture your business and picture that you provided a service or something for someone, and then they just said, "Fuck you."
The golden rule.
Yeah, do as you to others as you want done to yourself. Because let me tell you something, that's the shittiest feeling in the world when someone stiffs you. You fucking put your heart, you know.
I mean, I feel that way at the restaurant, like at a table. That shit, like, damn, nigga,
fucking brutal. So that's like helps you kind of realize, man, that like, you know, because everyone has this
mojo.
false.
It's mojo too.
Oh, it's definitely mojo. But people always feel like these all businesses are all fucking billionaires, and they don't give a fuck. It ain't gonna hurt them, but I don't know. That ain't necessarily the case.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. Like, well, it's like, all right, you can do that, but what if that was your business? Damn, that's vicious. Because one thing that I know CARESNONE will have is business integrity, especially when it comes to customers. Because I believe that's the whole idea is the people, right? So like where I'm at now and where I guarantee going forward is that I'm gonna make it right, even if it costs me.
Just imagine like someone puts in an order for 20 hoodies, you order them up, you ship them out.
Which has happened, not that big.
I'm saying because you trust them, you ordered them, you made them, you sent them out. You sent them out, and then it's just like,
like, hey, sorry, nigga. Who is that? Fuck. The one dude said, shout out to Lamar. He told me he's been in rooms, I think you have too, where in a closed room, a guy fucked another guy over and literally said to his face, yeah, I fucked George. What the fuck you gonna do about it? In business. Like, that's crazy. Like that happens.
Oh.
Like, and I know your industry gets a little hairy like that.
Oh yeah, because my industry, they'll just shortchange you basically, and the only thing you could do is put a lien on a property, right? So like, let's say someone shorts me like 10% of my contract. Supposedly, as the rumor goes, Trump was notorious for this with his buildings, and you hold like a retainage, let's say, right? And let's just say the retainage is like 10 grand, 20 grand, whatever the number is. I don't know. Well, you just shortchange them. And then at the end of the day, they got to go through this whole process, lawyers, court,
Which costs
all
money,
this shit,
too.
which costs a bunch of money. So like I've had several times where a customer shortchanged me 5, 10 grand, something like that. And I'll call a lawyer and he'll be like, dude, you want my real advice? And I'm like, yeah, what's up? Hit me with it. And he's like, I'm going to charge you way fucking more than this 5 or 10 grand that it's going to cost you. You know what I'm saying? Like it's going to cost you a lot more. Just
And you think they know they're doing that? The other people?
yeah. No, I mean, 100%. No questions asked. I could someone could short me 5 grand and I'm letting it go. I mean, I'll annoy him about it, but I'm not going to court. It's going to cost me more money. And the way that the laws work, like they like you could technically get back your attorney's fees, but like they really don't do it. So it's a risk you have to take. You have to like gamble on will they or will they not give me my attorney's fees.
So you don't think is okay? He said he's been in a situation where the guy literally looked him in the eye and said, "What are you gonna do about it? Prove it."
So
like
so
damn.
that guy, he's got to be packing heat or something because he's asking for a fight.
That's it. Hey, Steve. And then cut you say, Steve Carl, what the fuck you gonna do? I know you. You gonna lose your shit. What are you gonna do? Somebody comes to you like that and goes, Steve Carl, I know you're supposed to get 50 grand, but I'm not giving it to you. The fuck you gonna do about it? How do you?
I'm not gonna sit here and pretend to be some type of gangster, but we're gonna walk away, and then I'm gonna be thinking about really nefarious ways to fucking end you and your entire family.
Kevin O'Leary, he goes, you got to realize this shit's it's so crazy because I don't want to, and I feel like the way you started your business is you want to do it the right way. We've had these conversations too about, you know, I see that there's a pain point that this is a shitty fucking industry, and I want to come in here and do it the more noble way, right? And you've since told me that, man, like it's really hard to run business with that pure of a soul, right? You told me that. Am I wrong?
Yeah. Oh, you're right.
Kevin O'Leary also said it's a fucking it's a war out here, and I'm like, and he called Mr. Wonderful. He's like a nice guy, but he's cutthroat though.
Yeah, that's what you got to be.
So so does that mean that I'm wrong in saying that I'm customer first? Like I'm for real when I say that.
No, I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Your enemy isn't your customers. It's more, the competition. So it's like,
Or the B2B type shit.
yeah, because you can't be Mr. Nice Guy to everybody, and if your competitors are not. Not only your customers. I mean, again, there's a lot of businesses where they're savages
Like
to
Amazon.
to their employees or to their vendors and suppliers, and then they're just fucking peaches to the customers. I hear Amazon. Only difference is I would say that from the people that I have spoke to that have worked at Amazon, they described it as more of a lovely place to work than.
I know the customer service is impeccable.
Yeah, but I mean, who knows?
That's goals, man. Amazon's goals. They're so vicious. Like I had some shit come up missing, like some shit that delivered. They just like, yeah, we got it.
I can't remember what the story was that I heard, but it was like J.C. Penney or something like that. You ever heard this? Where like whatever store it was, they had a return policy, would just take back everything.
I think you told me.
And someone came in with an automotive tire
You
to
told me
return,
this.
and they don't sell fucking tires, but they took it back because they just had a policy of like.
Now, what part of that is ridiculous though? It's, you know what I'm saying? Like, nigga, like for instance, I'm all about the customer, but if you return me some shoes that I've never sold you,
It's ridiculous, but it's like
Like-
it takes it a whole new point or a whole new level that I've never heard of.
But don't you have to be careful with that, because then if that word gets out, because I'm sure the nigga who did that was like, you about to put everybody. I would put everybody on, like, you know, you would think. I think that this guy,
Or it could just be a fucking bullshit story.
There's got to be. Now, I've heard stories with returns that they're like, you know what? Like, they're really, really loose on what they return. Like, for instance, Amazon, bro, I'm telling you. And then, same thing with Google. You know, I got a Google phone, so I talk, you know, when I'm dealing with shit. Customer service is nice, kind. They handle shit. The wording, and you really notice it when you see bad customer service is like that's a thing. That's like a thing now. That niggas should just do that. Niggas just shitty service.
You ever call Comcast?
It's been years, but they're brutal, right? Are they brutal? Shout out to Comcast. Wait, what's so? Give me a story. Woo-hoo. They're bad.
They're bad. They're real bad. First of all, you can be on hold for like 4 hours, and then when you get through.
Wait, you got Comcast?
Hell, I did. I'll never get Comcast again after the customer service. It's bad, man.
And do you think we notice it more because we're in business?
Maybe.
I'd be noticing. I'd be like, damn. Like, there's this girl at Export, and you know, everyone else is always like, hey, how you doing? No, have a good day. And she's always like, hi. They won't even just. I'm like, and I feel that now. Maybe I
give a fuck. Yeah.
I'm like, man, it's like, are you damn, you that miserable? Like, you probably shouldn't be there.
Yeah, and that's like the bosses should identify that and work on it. I have run into them, and I always try as
I know you'll say something. Yeah, you'll say something.
I won't like go crazy, but it's just like, you have a problem with me? Like what did I do to you? And they always back down.
Yeah,
if you acknowledge their shitty ass fucking attitude, they will turn it around real quick.
Because then they realize, so do you think that they don't even realize they're being shitty?
No, I think they do. I think it's just like they are miserable fucks and they want like to fight. You know what I mean? Like they want to seek out other miserable fucks and brawl with them. And when you don't give them that, then they're like, oh, cool. Okay, you're not. Okay, we're not doing this. All right, I'll be cool.
Nigga, I went to the DMV the other day.
Ooh, okay.
They righteous.
They can be pretty. They can be pretty.
And they're so. And I understand where they're coming from, because niggas ask dumb questions and shit, and it's repetitive. So it seems like the way they come at it is, I know what you need more than what you know. So this, let me see what you got. Go left, and that's how they direct. So they're very direct in the fucking DMV game.
I got you. Go to Vernon Hills.
DMV?
Nice guy. Yeah.
Yeah? Because I got to go.
Always.
What about the one,
Plano?
Yeah, I remember it was like no line.
I don't know if that's still the case. Yeah, I don't know.
But I remember we went, it was like this is
it was
the
like
DMV.
a secret spot. Yeah,
that shit was a
that was
G.
an underground spot where you
no line, just cool, get it out the way, they cool.
But no, dude at Vernon Hills is I mean, I deal with him all the time, and he's super nice.
Is it a big like facility?
It's a big facility, but he is always somehow in my path. I don't know what, like maybe it's just because I'm doing truck registration, so like he works that department maybe, but I always like, it's weird though, because so maybe now that we're talking about this, maybe it's not as random as I think, because like I get a number, but he always calls me. And there's like a bunch of people now that I'm talking out loud about this. It's very weird.
But
maybe
thing.
It's like okay.
So long story short, we're gonna end this then. But long story short, oh no, you gotta give 2 more pieces of advice.
Damn,
my fault. The first one was don't stop.
Don't stop. Probably know your numbers, know your costs, know your
just know all the numbers, just clarity, pretty much, right?
Yeah, just to make sure that you're profitable or you're not profitable. You know what I mean? Like you need to understand that. Oh, and then I think 3 would be pay yourself. I think that's
that was like the first thing you told me.
I think that was one that.
How do you pay yourself when the money ain't coming in like that in the beginning?
See, maybe I'm giving terrible advice here. I'm not sure, but the way that my brain operates is that like it has to it has to, because it's like I need, at the very least, you're not having a big ask here to have one person on a payroll, a company to have one person working for it, right? So the business should be able to pay one person to work, you know, so I mean, because there, I guess the question becomes the difference between it being like a full-on business or like your if it was like you have a job and then you're also doing this as a side gig, which is not the case for you. So yeah, like you need to be doing everything in your power, and all of your energies need to be focused on, in my opinion, on generating enough sales to pay for yourself to do the work that needs to be done. I mean, that at a minimum. And then once that's done, then you can start, you know, repurposing the other stuff to expand and grow it.
So customer acquisition should be a huge focus.
I would think so. I would think to start driving enough sales so that the company can pay you, even if it's not where you want to be in the long run.
Just
something, for sure.
Yeah, because right now I'm kind of like I'm throwing this shit out, I'm advertising, and I'm going to value, but the sales come in sporadically.
Mm-hmm.
Like today I had a good day, but yesterday, like for 2 days, it was nothing. But then like tomorrow might be just one. But then like, you know, and it's so like there's no rhyme or reason.
Might be the way that retail works. You know what I mean? Like I don't know exactly. I don't know that game very well, but I think that you need to, make sure that you're doing everything in your power to generate enough
To at least pay myself.
to pay yourself.
And then okay, all right. Well, where do you think we at?
I'd say about 2.
155.
Okay, that's pretty good.
Yeah, last time you still got the record. You and Alan got the record for the closest. You were off by like 10 seconds last time. That was pretty good. I know you don't give a fuck about knowing no one finds you, but you can find me at CARESNONE.com. Shout out Iron Fire. You never know. You might. No.
Nah.
Well, I already did it now. You can find me at CARESNONE.com. Everything you need to know. I want to say shout out and thank you to the whole CARESNONE Nation. All you I'm selling a lot of shit now. Now, I know I just said like yesterday I sold nothing, but for, like in the grand scheme of things, it's doing pretty good.
I agree.
And
my whole damn closet's filled.
I know it is. You know what's crazy? A lot of motherfuckers have that.
You did a really good. We were having dinner today, and Courtney must have popped open the Facebook or something, and did you say something about taking a picture or something?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she's all so.
She thought it was a good idea.
Oh, she's bound, like coming for it.
Oh, perfect.
We got the ideas flowing.
Oh,
we got some good
yeah,
ideas. So you motherfuckers out there, you better come correct with the pictures.
Yeah. So I want to get the exact details of when I want to do it and post it, because I would love to generate some sales from this.
Yeah, for sure.
But I also, there's some people who took some dope photos before. You think it's a good idea?
To let them in, you're saying?
Yeah. I feel like, because they're like Joey took a dope one in front of the fucking Las Vegas sign. That's cool as fuck.
No, illegal.
Really?
I mean, tell them to go do it again, because you already acknowledged that it's dope, and you want to include it now.
Oh, but I'm not the one voting.
Oh, who's voting?
My IG. I'm going to let them vote.
Okay, then yeah. Then
I'm not voting.
But now you just plug that picture.
I mean, but you'll still be able to see the other ones.
Yeah.
It's your choice.
I think.
Yeah, I figured like let the people who already put in, and especially the ones who went out of their way to take a dope picture. I feel like throw them a little love, no?
Yeah, I think so.
And still, it ain't up to me. It's up to the people. So what I think might be dope, the people might say it's trash.
That's true.
You know, so it is what it is. But like, shout out to all y'all, man. It's supporting the dog shit out of me. It's giving me fulfillment, and it's literally perfect. And to be honest, the CARESNONE thing is gonna be way more than clothes at the end of the day, because it's a brand. I could put that on a fucking cup, and it would serve the same principle, like a CARESNONE coffee mug. You know, like
that's more than clothes.
Just
wait,
it's clothes is just the thing that started it in the beginning. But so thank you to that. And as always,
CARESNONE.